talk about tonight. Bob and I both got copies of Luminar's new AI software. I don't know if anybody uses Luminar, but they've been talking about bringing out this new artificial intelligence software for about 3-4 months now, I think it is. Right, Bob?
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going to take a look at that. I've had a chance to work with it, and there's some nice features on there. I've also got a new technique that I've been working on that I want to share with you, and see if if you want to play with that, you can try that. And you want me to take the screen now, Bob? Is that good?
Go for it.
Okay.
I think I even have it turned on.
All right.
Damn, I love that picture.
Let's see. Someone sent me animals. Who was that?
That's me.
Okay, I'm going to.
Every time somebody switches something like to share, I lose the screen. I have to go back and find it again. So anyway, well, I'll just make this. In the state of boredom, I went back through some of my old zoo pictures, and I saw a technique that they were replacing the background with black and painting in anchoring them in the bottom with the ground. So I tried to do that, and these are the results of my attempts. And I don't know, I don't think these are award-winning pictures or anything, but they're just kind of nice to look at. So anyway, that's the zebra. I guess that's the first one. You have control, right?
Yes.
Okay. And this is a polar bear that I took a while back at the Detroit Zoo. And I mean, the backgrounds in these things are just terrible on some of these shots, so I try to get rid of them. So.
Wednesday.
And there's a tiger. That was at the Detroit Zoo also.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I got your picture.
That's a nice pose there, yeah.
All right. See ya. Do you remember what I said about old people?
Well, we got to do something.
I just called Kevin and he said, "Is it Wednesday?"
This is a white wolf that I took a picture of at the San Diego Zoo. And you can't really tell, but he's sleeping on a bed of ice. It was a hot day.
So the zoo puts that out for the animal?
Yeah.
It did.
To cool them. Lou, about 10 years ago, I saw an article of the photographer that had done this type of treatment, only his blacks were really, really black for the backgrounds. And I was just mesmerized by it, and I never got off my butt and went out and did it. But this is nice stuff.
Well, I can't remember where I took this one. I think it might be at the Detroit Zoo also. I think the only one that's not at the Detroit Zoo was that one wolf. And, what's really nice is that what I do is I actually I've been using Photoshop, and I use the subject select, and that does a really good job. They have a refined brush, so you can get like the hair around the selection and that. And then I'll take and just bring in some of what I want to call it, to anchor it at the bottom, some of the ground and stuff. And when I do that, I also go in and after it's turned into black and white, I'll go in and paint in some of the whites and the darks to make them a little more contrasty.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically what I've been doing.
So Gary, what would you do as far as the contrast or exposure? Would you darken darks and lighten lights, or leave it right where it's at?
I think he's pretty close. I think this is working pretty good. Like you just mentioning some of the tricks of capturing the image, and you have to be careful along the edges because that's where you can see some telltale stuff. So it looks like you're doing a pretty good job with it, though. You might want to feather, when you make the selection, feather the edges just a little bit.
I have been doing that. Take a big, large brush, and you can shape the brush so it meets the contour of the side of whatever the thing is that you're trying to do it. And with the soft brush, don't even touch the subject. Just kind of, fade it in a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Helps to get rid of those halos.
Well, I didn't have any halos because it wasn't, the contrast, because the black was separate from the animal. I mean, and when I went through with Photoshop, I actually they have like I don't know what you call it, a brush. It's the second one down, and it will paint in, like if you're painting in the subject, you go along the subject and it will paint in all the little hairs around the edges and stuff. It does a pretty good job. I'm getting pretty used to using the Photoshop selections tools, and I think they do a pretty good job. So
Yeah, I think these look good.
Yeah, this looks good. Yeah, this one's real striking. Or the last one, the grill.
You can see here where the hair sticks up, where it come out pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And that the Arctic fox is always a hard one to get. And this is the rhino.
That looks really nice, I think.
Yeah, that's really nice. I think I would have liked to have a little more space top to the right side.
Well, I cropped it that way because there were some things around it. So
Content aware Phil.
yeah.
Can you use Photoshop to add his horns back?
And what?
Add his horns back. He got his horns chopped off.
No, that's the way they were. I guess you could if you knew what it looked like. If you had one that was not cut off, you could probably use a transform thing and move them in and fade them in there so they would look like they were real. But that's the way they were. They were
Break
cut
some
off.
jagged edges.
Yeah, there's the prairie dog.
It's cute.
Mm-hmm.
So that was one of the things I've been doing, at home. And the other ones down here,
Wow.
I have been, Bob, he's helping out. He's worked with us too. But we went down to Maurice's studio and we've done some Christmas cards, and I've done a lot of them up in my room. And so I've been doing this every year. So I make a Christmas card every year, and I've been sending them out. And I can't remember what year this was, but this is one of the first ones I did.
Pretty
And I
nice.
Yeah,
stole the ornaments off of my wife's tree. There's another one there. I took things you can't tell, but you can see the reflection of it. I bought this piece of black plexiglass, and I put them on the black plexiglass to get the reflection. Some of them I've done it with a mirror. I got a big mirror I do too. So some of them have the black plexiglass, some of them have a mirror underneath it. And now I have, what do they call it, plaid or whatever it's like a little disc that has, and I have the extension for 2 lights. And I've been using that to do a lot of my, we want to call still life type shots. And it's been working out real well for me.
So what do you prefer, the clear glass over a black matte or a black acrylic?
Well, I'll tell you, you'll see a couple, but one of the things about using a mirror, sometimes you get more than you want. I don't know if that makes sense or not, because you'll see not like a light reflection. You see it almost looks like I took the picture and turned it upside down.
Oh, it's too clear. No, I was thinking like a sheet of glass over some felt.
Oh, I haven't tried that. I have some felt, but I never could keep it clean. And the thing too about the plexiglass, even in the mirror, you got to wipe it down real well before you take your picture, because the dust shows up.
Yep.
You can
Yeah,
buy
one trick on the plexiglass, the lower you get, the brighter the reflection will get.
Yes,
You-
yes,
you Get down really low.
yeah. Well,
you can buy a square yard of black velvet on Amazon for about $7 or $8, which I found is pretty good. That's probably the least reflective of all the black surfaces. Then you can lay it on your table and then wrap it up the back and take a piece of plexiglass and lay it on the black velvet, and you'll get a very similar type of look. The problem with plexiglass is it scratches very easily, so you have to be real careful with it.
Yeah, most of the plexiglass I bought it's got protective paper on both sides, and I don't take it off until the one side is completely destroyed.
I bought a sheet of this thing and I had it cut in half and I gave half of it to a friend. And I went to cut it, I had a piece of white plexiglass clear that I had bought somewhere along the line and I tried to cut this stuff. How do you cut it? I want to cut it in half, you know?
Bandsaw is easy.
Do it up.
Or a hacksaw.
Yeah, hacksaw, bandsaw.
Okay, I'll give it a try. But, you know,
Actually,
it's hard. This one was done on, I believe, on glass.
if it's not too thick, Lou, you can score it and
I
snap it.
tried that and I shattered it.
Yeah, well, like I say, too thick, and you got to have a tool to groove it.
Yeah.
Hey, Lou, because I'm teaching third grade, I think you're supposed to have a comma after Louis, aren't you?
I guess, I don't know. I can't see that well. Yeah, probably. Yeah, comma would be nice.
Yeah. That's what we did today. That's commas.
You're really
Yeah.
good with these, Lou.
Huh?
You're good with these.
Yeah, these look really good.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a nice one there.
Yeah, this is real nice.
Mhm.
I got the same shot with the wine bottle in it, but I thought this was more appropriate.
They're nice, Lou. Good job.
Yeah.
I recommend people try still life because there's a lot you can learn with lighting and composition and color selections and things like that. So you've really done a nice job on all of those.
Yeah, you bet.
I just signed up for I'm a member of the PSA and they have a course on still life. And that's one of my goals is to take it. I just signed up for it today. And I'll tell you what it's like. But I've gotten involved with PSA. And I'm now the membership manager of the state of Michigan. And we have like 80 members from PSA in the state of Michigan. So I'm trying to work with people, send out newsletters and stuff like that. And if anybody wants to join the PSA, I'm around. So, and it's a good deal. What's it, about $40? And you can get a lot of training and they got all kinds of webinars and stuff that you can watch.
That's a full membership's $40.
Yeah, that's without the magazine. But if it's like $10 or $15 more if you get the magazine or something like that, which is
I
really
just-
a nice magazine.
Quit the PPA after 12 years, but that was $300.
This is not that expensive. And this is the one I did this year.
Nice.
Very
Good job, Lou.
What I
Yeah,
usually
really
do, I don't know what you guys do, but what I usually do is I do a image like this, and then on the back, I make a 5x7 card and get it printed at Costco's, and then on the back I'll put a family picture. So we usually go on like a family vacation or something like that. So I usually put a bunch of pictures on the back. I've been doing that for about 4 years now.
Cool.
They're all very well done.
Thank you.
Ann,
Hi. Yeah,
wow.
so I think I've told you in the past, I like landscape. I really like to concentrate when I can on lighting in the landscape. So this is the three things I think I submitted. I all have some form of lighting on the landscape. This was on the North Shore in Hawaii in 2019. And the waves were quite wild that day. I was surprised these people were so close to them, for fear that they're going to get washed away.
Boy, you really captured that.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Very nice.
Yeah,
Now,
the glow on the spray there. Yeah.
I've also have another version of this one where I just crop the couple in the front there, and I crop the rest of the people out. So it's kind of more of a little romantic setting.
What lens did you use on that, Ann?
The 100 to 400. I
Okay.
was quite far away, actually.
You know, the colors on this are just beautiful. If you look close, you can see some blues in here, and you might want to see if you can bring just a little bit more out in the blues, because this is just a great color combination. The yellowish orange and the grayish blues.
And you got
Okay.
Good detail in that midground.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, very nice.
And this is in Yellowstone. It's the, I don't know if it's the upper or lower falls in Yellowstone. That was in
Upper.
upper 2018. It was later in the day and the sun was kind of coming through and, you know, through the trees there, catching part of the trees and part of the mist.
It must have been high up there, and this is not the normal viewing place for the falls, is it?
You're on the other side of the river,
Yeah,
Yes, yeah.
farther down.
that's nice.
Yeah, we walked down. There's like a walkway quite ways and down so that you can get this view. This is just one of my painterly things that I do. This was 2019 in Hawaii, up in the north side of Hawaii. We just ride around and I'll just tell my husband, stop, I gotta take a picture. And it's just a fence with these viney flowers there. And so I took the picture and I like it better as this painterly kind of thing where I used in Photoshop and did different layers and textures and made it into this. And I like this better than the actual photo.
Yeah, I
Really
agree.
nice.
No,
I
you-
really like your textures you chose for the sky there.
You
Thank
bet.
you.
there are certain pictures that just don't work, and this definitely, you selected a good subject here. It just works really well with that painting look.
Thank you.
And if the border were a little thinner, would you catch the top of that?
Actually, the border's outside the picture. So that
Okay,
I didn't get the top in the photo itself.
okay.
And
That's
then
interesting.
yeah, I did a couple of those Van Noost things. This is actually the same, I want to say the same stairwell, but I've moved it around and, you know, made it sideways. And so it's the same stairwell, just in different positions and in the different layers in Photoshop.
You've really got that nailed.
Oh,
That is
that-
super cool.
and
That's
that
really
was,
good.
that
Yeah.
was I think I actually submitted a similar stairwell, but without the Van Noost look, in one of my submissions. I think it was probably maybe a black and white several months ago. But anyway,
I can see this one selling as a fine art image.
oh, thank you.
Yeah, this is really spectacular. I love the color combinations and the motion in the picture. It's just beautiful.
Thank you.
Wow.
Very good.
Especially with modern house designs with a lot of grays and browns mixed.
Yeah.
Mhm.
A single image, Ann? Is it?
It's one image that I changed. I did a bunch of different images from in layers in Photoshop. The other one, the
Yeah,
stairwell.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yep.
And this was in Hawaii again on the North Shore. Got up one morning and it was real stormy and caught this rainbow.
Man, you nailed that again.
Yeah, thanks.
North Shore of where?
Of Oahu.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, both of those, I'm sorry, were Oahu. The other Hawaii picture with the gold.
Christmas what?
And this is just another stairwell. I've just pulled out 3 different stairwells. This is another one. And was playing around. with This one actually was an iPhoto. And I think Linda, this was the stairwell from one of those houses that we went into in
at
Hudson
Full
Valley.
On?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And it was
Uh-huh.
just, this was an iPhone photo and I just played around with the colors and, the different layers.
Very
But it's
nice.
the same technique that you used on the other photograph, right?
Yes.
Wow.
Wow.
I got to get some time and try and practice this. I'll never catch up with you.
And this is more simple. And I don't remember where this stairwell was, but it's one stairwell. But all of those are just the same. This isn't layers of a stairwell, like a picture. Okay, this is one stairwell that I kept layering smaller and smaller and smaller in Photoshop.
Oh,
So it wasn't like I was looking up and you could see all these different,
Mhm.
floor levels. I
Nice.
just tried to make it look like that.
And when are you going to start offering classes on Photoshop?
I know.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I think you need to
Everything
take
I have
over.
learned is from this Wednesday night class and then practicing. So I would not even be able to do any of this without you guys. Seriously.
Wow, good stuff.
Thank you.
Really good.
That's nice.
I like that.
Well, these are mine. So mine are all just black and white. I guess this is Tom. I guess I just like to keep it simple. I kind of like black and white street photography. So that's what all mine are.
Mhm.
I like all the techniques we've learned, but I don't know. I'd like to keep it as simple as I can. So this is just walking around downtown.
You
Somebody's
really
gonna have a
caught the mood there.
tough ride home.
Yeah, that's nice. Where is this, Tom?
Yeah, on Liberty Street, right by the Michigan Theater in downtown Ann Arbor.
Oh.
The Michigan Theater is what's in the background. I was trying to
Yeah.
do something with that garbage can. It was kind of, it had graffiti all over it, which I was able to Photoshop out. But other than that, it's kind of just can't control your environment, but that's okay.
You don't really notice it too much. 'Cause the way you have the bike, the angle with the bike in front, at times don't even notice that garbage can until you mentioned it.
yeah. I
But
like how you,
bad weather usually makes good photographs. So I like
Yeah.
to go out when it's like this and just see what I can find.
I like how you got down low for the angle.
Yeah.
Yeah, you bet.
The flip screens are nice for that. And this was in we were at a pub. I think it was the Ann Arbor Brewing Company, Ann Arbor Brew Pub, Arbor Brewing. And this guy was sitting across the bar from me, and I just set it on the bar and just discreetly took a picture. He looked like he was in some deep thought. There was actually a light. There was a light over his forehead on the upper right side that I was able to Photoshop out using some of the things we learned from this class, so that you don't even notice it anymore.
I like what you've done with the background. It looks like you've done some kind of technique on the background.
No, it's just from the camera. I had like a 85 1.4 1.8 lens or something. So it's just I'm not sure what the settings were, but that's just from the camera.
Okay.
There was
well,
some light
good.
shining on it, which kind of gave it a little from the inside the bar. And this is from the UK. We were in the UK last year when you could travel. Remember when you could travel places?
Yeah.
And this is one of there's this, I forget what it's called, King's Cross, I think. It's one of the stations. So my wife did a bunch of research on places to photograph, and this is one of the things that came up in London. It's just amazing structure. You can see the old building in the background, and then there's all modern stuff, and it's limitless possibilities. This is just one that I kind of liked how it came.
Very nice.
You did a nice job because something that large can really be
Yeah, I think I had like a
difficult.
20 to 14 millimeter on a crop, something like that. I think I had for this.
One real little thing, Tom, that light in the upper left corner.
Yeah, I noticed that too. As soon as you start talking,
I think I would take that out or darken it down like the other
yeah,
one.
no, I could probably just Photoshop that out easy enough.
Yeah.
Oh,
And this is on a trip to Sioux Falls, Iowa. And I've never been there before. We were coming back. We went out to Montana in this past summer or fall, I guess it was. On the way back, we stopped in Sioux Falls, and it's a spectacular city. There's all this great artwork, and this is just some kind of art that they had going across the river, and I just thought it was really, really cool. But they do this thing downtown where they have all this public art that people have made, sculptures and things, and it's all like juried by the city. They pick who the ones their favorites are, and they have them on display, and it's really cool as you walk around downtown. So if you get a chance to go there, I'd recommend it for lots of reasons. And this was in Montana, in Virginia City during our trip, and they had a bunch of snow, and I just kind of liked how this was kind of snowed in here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes an interesting line.
Oh, this is some of that art from Sioux Falls. This is one of the sculptures that was on display. I was able to, there was some support wires going along from the right, and I was able to Photoshop those out to make it look a little better. But yeah, it was pretty cool.
I like that a lot. That's nice.
Thanks.
Wow.
I like to just walk around and look for stuff that's interesting, and whatever catches my eye.
This is nice.
This is in Chicago. I went on a photo workshop in Chicago. A guy named I'm drawing a blank on his name, but anyway, they had access to this parking garage, which you're not really allowed to go up, but we went up anyway. I got a couple shots off before the security people kicked us out. looking down on the L.
I love how you get a sense of movement with the train.
Yeah, I tried to slow it down a little bit. I was able to brace. I'm literally leaning over this kind of structure, looking down. I was able to just kind of brace it on the cement and just fire off a shot.
Mm-hmm.
This is a great street shot. I think this is my favorite of the whole group. And I like the way it ends right here instead of you cropping out and not getting that edge right there. I like
I think that's the full frame. I don't think I did any cropping on this one.
Yeah, I like.
And the leading line.
I took a bunch and just kind of whatever one looked the best to me.
Yeah, this really works well. They're all good. Nice package of stuff.
Thank you.
Keith.
Okay, I just kept going with that motion blur and then changing the blend mode to darker. This was in Chicago.
Love the colors. It's really nice.
Yeah, it seems like certain pictures work better for that technique.
Well, that's the cool thing about it is you really never know what you're going to get until you try it. So
yeah, it's kind of fun.
Yeah, that's great.
Oh, that's nice.
Mm.
That's really nice.
funny, you can't really tell which buildings are tall and which ones are short. They're all kind of they're all
Kind of.
Just taken from the water?
I think near the water. I don't think, well, this might have been on the boat tour. I did a boat tour, but it might have been on the boat tour. Yeah.
This is where the ferry dock is right here, because I took this exact same location. I shot this area, and this is where the ferry dock's right here in the front, and then you jump on, and I think this is it going off there. This is a great shot. I love this.
Yeah,
The colors
other
are
one,
just really something.
I could see this one in a fine art gallery.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get about 10 different shots that could get out of this one. This is nice.
Yeah, it seems kind of magic. Now this one, and then I think the next one I corrected the buildings, but
Yeah, it'd be a tough choice trying to pick one or the other. They both work well.
Yeah, I even like the angled on the.
yeah, that's what I decided. I thought, well,
Yeah.
especially for something like this where you're not really trying to capture reality, right? So,
right.
Both are excellent. Yeah.
No, this one and the next one. On this one, I let the blur go into the sky, and on the previous one, I kind of mask out the sky, most of the sky blur. I just wanted it
They're both good. I think I like this one better with the
with the blur.
Yeah, I do
with the lights
too.
going into the. What happened down here? Is this like a shadow on the?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not real sure.
I think it's a.
Artifact from the.
I think it's from a shadow. There's got to be a shadow line there because
Yeah,
that's what
yeah,
usually-
yeah. I think there probably was a shadow, just a darker area that becomes light. Yeah.
Yeah. That doesn't hurt it at all. I mean, I think that even makes it more, mysterious and
Good job, Keith.
yeah, these are great. Wow.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's real.
Wow.
I like this one.
That's real nice.
And I did the kind of like Bob with the double linear blur, tried to get the blur going in the direction of the buildings.
This is inverted, isn't it? Flipped?
Well,
The,
no,
the building's usually on the right of that thing. Oh, you're from the other side, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah.
This
Yeah, I
is
think
looking north.
Yeah, this was
Looking
early in the
north, yeah.
morning, so there weren't many people around. A few, but
You really captured that early morning look there, Keith.
Is that fisheye lens?
yes, this was a fisheye lens, yes.
What blending modes did you say you use, Keith?
You duplicate your base layer a couple times and turn off the top layer. On the second layer, use the motion blur, and then turn on the third layer and use difference. And then you make a combination layer and use the let's see, the filter,
Darker?
the camera raw filter on the top to bring up the colors, because it'll be pretty dark when you first get it.
Okay, thank you. Oh, they're great.
Yeah,
They're
you're
great.
really learning how to master this technique. These are really good.
Hey, Keith?
Yeah,
Well, I tried a couple of these pictures like that, and I found that when you turn them to black and white, they really have great contrast. I don't know if you've noticed that or not.
well, on these, I like the color so much that I didn't even
Yeah.
go there, There's a couple others I did that I think will be good though to turn black and white, but
It'd be kind of rough on a barge out there.
you'd think if it was this windy, they wouldn't do fireworks.
Right.
Yeah, I had been out here. This was 30-mile-an-hour winds, and it was gusting to 50 miles an hour. And one of the shots, right at the end, they turned the lights on, not back on the previous one. They turned the lights on the lighthouse, and then I just said, well, let's add a little bit of fire, darken the sky and add some fireworks. So that's what I did. So
Nice.
some of you saw this one. I had this one in the last camera club competition, but
Really nice.
Yeah, good shots.
I guess I have one more. Okay.
Oh, nice.
Love that ceiling.
Yeah. This is in Reykjavik. I think it's the
Yeah.
Harpa concert house. But it's incredible architecture there. If you're in Reykjavik, be sure to go in there inside.
When we were there, it was closed, so we only got to see the outside.
Oh, yeah.
Have to go back.
Yeah. A good excuse to go back. Yeah. Oh, and I thought, well, let's try this on a scenery shot. This is from Newfoundland last year, or the year before, I guess.
What strikes me, Keith, with these is to print them on metal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
that would look really cool. I just love your colors.
Yeah, I do too. Those are so good.
And this was in Reykjavik too, a spiral staircase.
I think the architecture lends itself well to that method because it sometimes looks like a drawing. Like here, the cars almost look like they're in an ink.
Yeah.
Keep going with it. These are really good.
Yeah, real
Hey.
nice.
I'm going to bring up before you go too much further for Keith's pictures. The colors are so striking in there, and we recently had I guess it was a Zoom meeting, and they were talking about the monitor calibrator. I don't know who else was in that Zoom meeting, but basically what they say is that you hit a gamut warning, and your printer and the paper cannot support that level of color.
Mhm.
When you print them on metal, does it support this kind of color?
Not necessarily. I think most of the printing processes, commercial, are set at 300 dots per inch, and they use just a standard sRGB color space. So they are constraining the colors. It's kind of like the difference between HDR and standard definition in televisions. But if you get them between the goalposts, if you will, between blacks and whites, they'll still look good.
Okay.
I'd love to see one of these printed in metal. Those would be,
Yeah,
Yeah, especially if you got a really smooth metallic surface.
yeah.
Gee, Kevin, where'd you shoot that?
Sorry.
You're a star now, Kevin.
Well, yeah, now this one, well, actually, if you look at the look I'm trying to get is, I don't know if I'm ever going to get it, because the way they drew it, I was actually taking a layer and then I blurred the car and then added, this is actually concrete texture.
Interesting. Well, there's a lot of peeling paint in that building, so it kind of works well with it.
Yeah.
Packard plant, isn't it?
Yes. The Paquette
that's-
building,
cat plant.
the Paquette building.
Paquette building.
That's what I meant, yeah. I misspoke myself. Yeah.
I was thinking maybe soften the, decrease the opacity a little bit on the texture layer there.
Yes. Yeah, I played around with both they aren't all 100%. So I changed a lot of the,
And you decrease it in general and maybe even decrease it a little more on the car.
Yeah, maybe mask out some of the texture on the car, yeah.
Just play.
okay.
Guess who's here? Ann. Hey, Ann.
I am.
Are you still in Scotland?
I am. No, actually, I'm in England.
So it's what, like 1 a.m. or yeah, late.
Yeah. I mean, I'm up all hours of the night with my dad, so I just happen to be awake right now.
Aw. This
So I
is
thought I'd
great,
just-
Kevin.
I thought I would just drop in for a few moments. I may not be here long.
Okay.
But
We're recording it.
okay, that's great. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt.
This one was at the museum. I forgot the name. Oh, the Broad Museum.
In Lansing, right?
So there's your concrete texture again.
Yeah.
Need an American Gothic couple in front of it.
This one I think is, I got a before and after.
That's pretty good.
Maybe not.
They may not be in the same order, Kevin, that you
How to
did.
turn a lion into a building.
Yeah. That was pretty cool, yeah, how you did that.
This is really nice, Kevin.
This is, yeah. Yeah, I like the textures in this one a lot, yeah.
Good.
Looks like you have more scratches and stuff.
Yeah, this was, I got some metal that had scratches on that. I don't remember where I took that, but this is off of the Detroit River, off of Belle Isle.
I wonder if you use some of the scratchy texture on the car pictures.
On the car,
Yeah,
that's a good idea. I'll have to try that one.
So you actually had a piece of metal that scratched that you took?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Wow.
If
Then I
you,
was just trying, I actually like the black and white better.
if you want
I
some
like the color.
textures, go into a hardware store where they have wide sheets of aluminum for duct work and just photograph a chunk of it,
Right.
because that'll have the brush marks in it. This was cool.
Yeah, this was that day we went to Greenfield Village. I thought I had the other version of this in, but I had one with the shadows with another shadow coming off of them. But this was right at the entrance of the village there.
So you were on peyote with that one, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Hmm.
I like that.
This was just kind of using the colors, the orange and blue.
Yeah,
And
really creative.
Yeah.
Oh,
there-
that's nice.
that's my granddaughter
That's well done.
with the scratches.
Is that the metal scratches again?
Yeah. Yeah.
It
You
looks
also
like
have
you
the
have,
concrete too? The concrete,
Yeah.
did you do a couple layers?
With the concrete.
Yeah.
You got both in there.
Well, there,
Yeah.
it does have both. You're right.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Nice, very nice.
And guess who comes in when she hears her name?
Sassy Grandpa.
Sweetheart.
Yeah, she's a sweetheart. I'll tell you, we've really had a lot of fun. I'll tell you what a chance of being able to spend 40 hours a week with her one-on-one. We're best friends now. It's just really what a privilege to teach her. So
Are you going to be passing third grade?
I don't think so. I look at the things that I don't know, and I'm wondering, how did I ever get a college degree? I can barely pass third grade English.
She'll always
But-
remember that time with you too.
Wow.
Right. Oh, we have fun. You know, I get up and I'll dance and do some kind of goofy dance every time she gets something right, and it's a lot of fun. So yeah, here on this one, you just that was just straight up water drops.
Now, is that a water drop texture or did you shoot that through glass?
That's through. I shot that through the car window.
Okay.
Oh. Nice.
Good idea. Good idea.
And here I tried again trying to blur it, and I also guess on that one it looks like I blurred the scratching stuff too.
yeah, that one looks a little too much.
Too much, yeah.
Yeah.
I like the
That's
fluff.
Especially if you could take some of the blur out of the bridge, maybe.
Yeah, I think you're right, Keith. That sharpen that up a little bit, but that's been the hard part, is trying to find a balance between the blur and the texture.
I like this one.
Yeah, these are very nice.
Nice textures and I love the colors.
Now
Wow.
that one, we all know where that was.
Yeah, I recognize that place.
So you're blurring out that new wood on the roof.
Yeah, yep. And also took the guys that were fixing it. They were on top of there too.
Kevin planned his trip to get there the week that they were re-roofing the place.
Yeah. There, now that one's where I blurred the line with the, looks like the scratch or the metal. But there again, like I say, now these are the pictures. I guess these are coming up. These are the ones that I like.
Who was the guy that shot those?
You have to look at the name. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, I thought,
I named the picture his name, so.
yeah, there's 3 or 4 of them in there.
That, and that's just using a 3. There's actually an action for that
Oh,
that just separates them. But
Yeah.
that one with the car kind of came out. I like the car being separated. Yeah, I don't know if I got.
Is
Yeah,
there
this-
a place? I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's the one I like the best, actually. I'm trying to get that look, but I can see these aren't pictures are too small.
yeah, but you can get into a lot of still lifes.
Is there a place that you can go to download actions for Photoshop?
Oh, God.
They're everywhere.
Oh, there.
And some of them don't work so good because they're old, but yeah, they're all over the place. And of course, there's a lot of people selling them.
That's it.
Hmm.
Or here, read the name down there.
William Nicholson?
Yeah, that's it.
Mm-hmm. Now, on the watercolor look of your granddaughter, what did you, that was a texture that you took also and just blended it?
Which one?
The 22, let's see, not that one,
The other one.
that one.
No, now that one, that was just straight up, I blurred it
Oh, really?
and just layered it, yeah.
That's nice.
Good ones, Kevin.
Very good.
Mike.
It's nice.
So I know the last time we talked, the last meeting I was at, the assignment was to find an environment where there's no people. And I happened to be driving from one job to the next, and I saw this little gas station party store in, I think it was Byron, Michigan. And I thought it was interesting and old, and I grabbed a shot of it with my cell phone.
It's pretty cool.
And I sat down last night. I replaced the sky for a more dramatic sky, put a vignette around it, cropped out a couple cars that were parked there. I really, really wanted to do Gary's, what'd you call it? The artistic painting?
Artography.
Artography.
Yeah.
I really wanted to do that last night. I just ran out of time.
No, that feeling.
This would be a good subject to deal with. There's a
Yeah.
lot there.
That would look good with artography.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
The lighting is nice as is. It's got some nice lighting.
And I do like how you replace the sky. It fits. It fits the
Yeah, it works
movement
with the
of
picture.
that building.
Yeah. So I'm interested to see what you have to say about the Luminar AI, because I did download that last night. And I
Okay.
tried it. I actually replaced the sky in Luminar 4 because I am not very familiar with the AI yet.
Okay. We're going to get to it. All right.
That's nice.
Tom, are you there?
Yeah, that one's mine as well. Yeah, this is in Chicago. I just like the lines and the, yeah, just how it. I wish there was better sky. I might try that sky replacement thing in Photoshop.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like
I
everything.
like
about
it
the
like
picture.
that.
Yeah, I like the detail.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful
I
art
liked
here.
all the layers from left to right, light to darker, and then back. Yeah, I kind of liked how
You
it
got
all
layers
went out.
and textures.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would ruin it if you tried to put some kind of sky in there. It would take away from the rest of the picture.
Right.
The line from the concrete just draws your eye out.
Yeah.
There's two pictures really here. You could do one that looks very abstract if you cropped it right along here and got rid of that background. You know, this becomes a very, very abstract looking picture. But I like the stuff in the background because this whole sweeping line, you know, kind of leads
Yeah.
into the
I suppose I
background.
could also clone the building down, just make it a flat horizon all the way across, right? Too.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah.
You could.
Think about that.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in this picture. It's nice.
Thanks. Well, this is in St. Louis. This is an old building. It's a funny story. When I was going to school there in the 80s, this building was basically condemned and you couldn't even go in it. It was from like the 30s or something. It was one of the things that had its day, and then it went into ruin for many decades. We used to actually climb over the wall and climb up to that little tower up there when I was in with a few beers in us, of course, in the middle of the night, and people would hang I was there in St. Louis on the way back on my trip to visit family, and we went by this is right by campus at St. Louis University, and it's all redone. It's like an apartment building. It's beautiful. It's really cool Art Deco building. So I wanted to get a picture of it.
It's nice that they renovate those.
And this is in a museum somewhere in Europe. I'm thinking it's in France, I think. This is a ceiling, and I just thought it looked like Darth Vader when I started processing it. So
That's nice.
Really nice,
just
Tom.
something caught my eye.
It's really hard to follow the lines here with,
I did a little bit of, but mostly I moved the black point down and the white point up, and then kind of boosted the contrast and all this and added some texture and all this stuff. So it's hard to tell the shape. I agree, but yeah, it's basically.
Well, it's kind of like a trompe l'oeil. It switches back and forth between
right.
prudes and what recedes.
Well, you can kind of see at the bottom. You can see the opening into the next room. You can see some of the archway there. But yeah, I called it Darth Vader. Oh, that's my bike again. We're going through my area. Oh, this is there's a new statue in front of the art museum on the University of Michigan Museum of Art, and it's called Behind the Walls. And it used to be in Rockefeller Center for a few years, and some alumni purchased it and donated it to the Michigan Museum. And so now it's out there permanently on display. It's a spectacular sculpture if you get a chance to go by there.
I'll tell you one thing that strikes me with these is that the image is so much better looking here than it was through the club.
Oh, when we did it, yeah.
Detail and
Yeah, it's clearer.
The quality of the
yeah, quality is much better.
Interesting. But the joke about that, the joke about the image was they call it Michigan football fan.
Here's one that we.
Oh, there's one more. This is in downtown or in Ann Arbor, over by Argo Canoe Livery. I was just walking around like I always do in the winter, and these guys are all lined up, waiting for springtime. So I kind of like the theme.
Nice setup.
And the black and white brings out all the metallic textures and things.
Good ones.
Thanks.
Okay, I think we got everybody in. I talked about a technique that I tried, and this is the picture I started with. This was out at Stony Creek. I went out there because Photoshop now has the new fog atmospheric filter, and I went out there with the intention of finding some trees where I could get some depth in the picture. So I knew in advance what I wanted to shoot, and so there's a progression of trees here going back, and you see the three-dimensional aspects of it. So what I wanted to do is put it into the fog filter, get some fog in that, and then here's what I ended up with. So I did the fog filter, I duplicated it, and then I did some vertical motion overlays. So I got this motion going back and forth, and it almost looks like you set up a tripod in the rain and took this time exposure. And what happens with the vertical blur is you start getting these reflections that almost looks like they're water reflections, like there's water sitting on the leaves, and you're getting these reflections of in the backgrounds coming through. So this is something I'm going to experiment with, and I hope some other people will try this, because I think you could do this with people with other landscape pictures, but buildings and things like that. It gives you that feeling of not only the fog, but the water and the reflections and things like that. So not that this is a great picture in itself, but it's an attempt at a technique that I would suggest you give it a try and see what you can do with it. You guys have done so well with the other techniques that this might be a lot of fun to play with.
What sticks out to me, Gary, is you've got good contrast and texture on those tree trunks, which kind of negates the fog part, which is good.
The closer you are to the subjects, you're not going to get the fog effect, and the further you go back, you get more and more fog effect. And the same thing happens when you're in rain. You get that same kind of a feeling. So there's a lot of possibilities here. I tried using the difference with color, and I got some really, really weird stuff. I want to play with that more, but these leaves really turned like a bright red, and I didn't have a lot of time to play with it. I did this a couple of days ago, but I think it's an interesting technique, and I encourage you to give it a try and see what you can do with it.
Gary, where would we find the fog filter in Photoshop?
Okay, I can show you where that is. We're gonna go in and take a look at the Luminar, and
Okay.
I'll show you
So
real.
this was in Luminar or Photoshop? This is Luminar.
Luminar and Photoshop both have a fog filter. My feeling is that they both basically do the same thing. They're just a different technique that they're trying to use. So we'll go take a look at it. So let me get rid of that. Get down with this and open Photoshop. I set this up before so that I brought in some pictures here. I didn't want to open Lightroom. No, I'm not going to eat up that. Where to go? There we go. Okay. This is a shot that Doug and I were out there, and if you remember this tree that Doug had, he was shooting it. I was shooting it from a different location, but the filters for fog are under Filter Neural Filters, and if you go into that, I'm going to move this over. Hit this, and these are all actually beta filters, and some of these aren't even working yet. They're gonna add all these other filters in, which is going to be nice. We've got some photo restoration and things like that that they're going to bring on. But right now, these are the ones that are actually working, and you can see that these are the portrait ones are grayed out because it can tell actually what type of picture you're working on. It's only going to allow you to use certain pictures, but this depth aware is what is the fog filter. So if you turn that on, it's going to do all the work in the cloud. So it's going to send the picture out into the cloud and then send it back finished. So this is the filter amount for the haze. And as you turn it, it's going to take about 10 seconds. Again, it's going to send the picture out into the cloud at Adobe, and that's going to send it back as a result. So you can play with this and get all kinds of different effects. You can have, you can warm it up, you can cool it down, you can change the brightness. But again, it's really in beta form right now. So it works, but you have to play with it. This colorize filter is pretty interesting. If you go on Shorpy, I don't know if you've been on Shorpy, but Shorpy, SHORPY, is a website for historic pictures, a lot of black and white pictures. You can download those and colorize them, so it's fun to play with. Cancel.
Do you have the one that you did?
No, I didn't think of that.
It turned out good.
Let's go into Skylum Luminar AI. And the idea of the artificial intelligence in Luminar 4 is that it's going to look at your picture and determine what kind of picture that you have, and then it's going to make suggestions based on, this is like an urban landscape picture. So if you look up here, it says for this photo, it's got a set of styles called urban style. There's another one called big screen and blockbuster. So if you hit urban style, this is the idea of the artificial intelligence looking at the picture and then making suggestions about how you can manipulate that image. So here's 6 different filters that you can try based on them telling you that this is an urban style type of a look, and you can go down and hit each one of these and get a different kind of a look with colors. And then you can change the opacity down here, how much you wanted, 50%, 20%, 30%. And then if you get away from the templates, you can go back into, if you look right on the top here underneath this green bar, it says edit. And you have a whole set of editing tools as you would in Camera Raw. One of the good things about the program is that if you don't have Photoshop and you just want to use this, you could actually bring your Camera Raw pictures right into this as a standalone program. And you actually have just as many tools here for adjusting the image as you would if you were working in Camera Raw. So this is called Essentials on the top. If you go down to the second one, there's one called Creative. And here's where you have your sky replacements, augmented skies, atmosphere. And atmosphere is their version of the fog. And you can pick between fog, layered fog, mist, and haze and change the amount. And it's a different type. This says depth, so you can control. It looks like it's just going from top to bottom with the depth. And then there's lightness. You can go to layered fog. And I'm not sure what it's doing there. Mist. Augmented sky. And this is pretty much the same as it was with the Luminar 4. So if you had Luminar 4 before, this is a slight improvement. I'm not sure you would want to spend the money to get this, but sun rays.
Sun rays is interesting.
You can pick a spot. You can move that around. Sun settings, sun radius. Drama. And then you can turn these things on and off if you want. So what's nice about it is if you, let me cancel this. If you take another style picture, I tried one. Here's a portrait I took of my grandson just fooling around. He was sitting in here with his phone, so I snapped a shot just so we could try this. If we take this into Skylum, Luminar AI, it's going to tell me that it's looked at the picture and that this is a portrait, and it's going to give me some suggestions about how to modify or enhance the picture based on portraits. So for this picture, it's giving me this set of options. And if I hit this one, it's a little blurred out. Marquee. Again, these are very soft looking, like they're portrait type. Iconic.
Something to Google would be, does this give the Apple iPhone an advantage with its depth-aware photography for portraits? Because that's kind of a coming thing, that the image actually has depth information in it.
Well, one of the interesting features here is that if you go into the editing, there's a portrait. Before we were on the creative box or drop down, there's one for portraits and people. And if you go, you can adjust the face, the skin, the body, the high key, and you can change the light on the face. You can slim the face. You can make adjustments to the eyes, to the mouth. If you wanted to enlarge the eyes.
All very subtle.
Very subtle. You can make them, if you want to do a caricature, it's a kind to do it. Maybe that's as far as, you can change the whitening in the eyes, iris flare, lip saturation, skin, soften the skin. So there's all kinds of adjustments. And again, you can do this in Photoshop, because Photoshop has a whole section where you can do basically the same thing. And then once you get that back done, you can go back into the essentials for making the adjustments. But probably the biggest thing is the templates, because it goes through and you have landscape templates, nature templates, portrait templates.
And there's about 10 or 15 different groups of templates they'll be happy to sell you.
Right, and you know, they have hundreds and hundreds of, you know, I think they're like $20, $10 a package for different templates. And
Like
again,
with the
if you're
skies.
into making these kind of changes, with color combinations and things like this, there's a lot of people that like doing this with. I'm trying to remember the website where they post a lot of these, but
Instagram.
yeah, Instagram type shots, yes. So that you want different color combinations.
Do they have one that'll take off all my COVID weight?
Yeah, actually, they do.
The thinning
Right. That's what I need.
or liquefy in Photoshop.
Yeah, they can do that. So, I mean, it's. Let me cancel this.
By the way,
Yes, this-
on the skies, you can put your own skies in and not use theirs.
I think I had some samples here of I tried with. Here's a shot I took at Greenfield Village. This is the raw file straight out of the camera, and then I think I played with it a little bit. Oops, that's the wrong one. Going the wrong direction. This is, So with a couple keystrokes, you can go from this to this.
Nice.
If it helps you, I mean, it's
Yeah.
stuff that you could do on your own if you were good in layers and things like that. But with change the sky with a keystroke, change the coloration with another. So what was disappointing is that they were advertising that they were going to get reflections when you replace the sky, and that was going to be a huge change, because you can imagine that you had this beautiful sky with all kinds of clouds. It would look kind of silly if it wasn't reflected in the area on the water. Well, they didn't bring it out for some reason with this release, which I think is a big disappointment, because that would have made a huge difference.
And that's the same for both Photoshop and Luminar AI.
Right, they're both looking and promising that this is coming now in the future. So I think that would be a big help if you're going to do this kind of thing. So
who knows, in a year or two, everybody can do Keith Skies.
I was gonna say, I did a sky before all this, and it took me quite a while, and I'm laughing at how long it would have taken me if we could use the sky replacement filters, but
okay, I'll send this back to you, Bob.
Gary, what does it cost right now, Luminar AI?
I think I get one email from them every day, so that they're always sending out suggestions. Buy it today, get a discount. So I don't really know what depending on which day it is. If it's on Tuesday, it's one price. Wednesday, it's another price. So
I can't remember. I think the upgrade from Luminar 4 to or from Flex to this was like $70 or something.
Yeah, I have 4.
Yeah.
So what filter Ann has on her picture there?
Don't know about that one.
Okay, so for next month, any suggestions? Think about it.
What about this Topaz stuff? Isn't there like a Topaz AI too or something? What's the difference? Do you know?
Yeah,
Topaz is a different set, and we can get into that. I don't have anything prepared to talk about Topaz, but I use that a lot. We did that.
I like Topaz a lot.
I know they do noise reduction. They have some kind of Giga thing where you can increase the resolution of an image or size or something. Or
yeah, they have a lot of specialty applications for things like enlargements and sharpening, noise reduction, and all of them work fairly well. So I haven't bought the entire package. They have probably 15 different programs that work.
It appears to me that Photoshop is finally getting off their butt and reacting to their competition, though, because Photoshop's enlargement and reduction and sharpening tools have gotten so much better in the last couple of years.
well, I tried the Topaz sharpening and it was okay, but I was getting just as good results with the Smart Sharpen in Photoshop.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
I just bought the Topaz noise reduction, and I also got the sharpening. And I think if you have to go with one, I would just go with the noise reduction because it's got sharpening built right in it. And the other thing too, if you're interested in Topaz, they got a big deal going till the end of the year. It's 30% down, off of their normal price. And then if there's I got an email that gives me another 10% or something on top of that. So I got the the noise reduction for like $40-some. So it was really pretty cheap.
I use the AI denoise in Topaz, and I really like it because it gets rid of the noise and it also sharpens it too. And you can control the noise and how much sharpen you want, or you can do automatic and it works well. I tried their Gigapixel and I really didn't like that at all.
Did you try the first one or the second one?
I'm not sure what version it
Came out
was.
with a new release here a few months ago.
Mm-hmm. Well, this was about 3 weeks ago I tried it.
Okay.
And I didn't.
So the noise reduction, does it work like a plug-in to Photoshop, or do you have to actually just open the image again in their program?
No, it's a plug-in.
Yeah, so you also, you can, I don't know, when you want to do an edit like in Lightroom, you can go right straight to those plugins. You don't have to go through Photoshop or anything to get to them if you're working on a Lightroom. Or you can just pull them down on the filter menu in Photoshop. You can get to them both ways.
Okay.
Hey, I have an unrelated question. I think someone in this group has got the new Canon R5. Is that correct? Well, okay, because I got the Canon R5 and there's none of the programs, none of the software, Photoshop, Lightroom, any of those will accept or recognize the raw pictures.
That's pretty normal with a new.
That is normal.
So what do you do?
Did you get the latest update that just came out last week?
Yes.
Okay, and it still won't, oh my.
That's surprising.
Yeah.
And all the camera manufacturers have their own little developer or editor tool that nobody likes to use much, but it does get the job done in the meantime. You can go in and use Canon's version of that and at least develop it, if you will, into a TIFF or a JPEG and then move it into Photoshop or something.
Okay. Yeah, it's really because I know when I've purchased my Mark IV, Lightroom and Photoshop within 2 months they had up the they had edited their software to accept that camera's raw files.
I think some of that has to do with the camera manufacturer giving the right information, but I know on the Sony A7S III, by the time the camera came out, it was already covered under Photoshop and Lightroom.
Yeah, it's frustrating. I can't imagine I know there's been many people who have purchased this camera, and I'm sure they're not happy with the fact that Photoshop and Lightroom haven't caught up yet.
Yep.
If you don't mind, I'd like to ask the group a question.
Sure.
I recently started playing around with a printer, and I ran into a problem, and I don't know how to resolve it. So I would have this image right here on Photoshop and Lightroom. However, whenever I go to the print preview, I would get, I don't know if you can see the difference or not. You can't really tell on the camera, but it adds a blue tint to it. And I can't figure out how to get that blue tint out. The only way I was able to get it out is if I allowed the printer to manage color, and then I reselected my paper type one more time. But when I allowed Photoshop to manage color, everything would be fine on Photoshop, but when I go to the printer preview, it would have a blue cast to it.
One thing you might look at is the color profile that your software uses. So for example, if you're in Lightroom, you know automatically that Lightroom's default is Adobe ProPhoto RGB. And so if you're going to be a Lightroom user, my recommendation is you take that as a given. That's a big color space. But then you need to set Photoshop to where its default color space is the same one. So you're not changing them as you move back and forth. So that would be one issue. There's also some recommended settings, a couple of them under the color area. And let me see if I can pull them up and find them.
Do you have the right paper profile for your paper?
That's another one.
I did pull up the correct paper profile, and some of the profiles say 1/2 on them, and other profiles say 3 for the exact same paper. I'm using the Canon Platinum paper.
I don't know what the 1, 2, and 3 is. I know on Epson profiles, a lot of times it will be higher resolution or lower resolution, or it might be using a photo black ink versus a matte black ink. They actually have different profiles.
Okay. When I let the printer manage the color and I reselected the paper, it came out almost exactly what I had on the screen. So ultimately, I did end up getting the picture. But in that one class that we took recently that was all about the data color, they kept on pounding it into your head to allow Photoshop to manage the color and not the printer.
I do that 100%.
I had just the opposite problem for a while. I was getting really accurate results when I let Photoshop manage the colors. But if I tried to let the printer manage the colors, oh my gosh, it was just
Correct.
terrible. It was just awful.
No, you want Photoshop or Lightroom to manage the colors.
Okay. Now, what seemed odd is it only happened on pictures that were either black and white or it was very, very stripped and very, what do you call that, washed out of color? Only those.
Desaturated?
Desaturated? Yeah.
Okay, image. Gary, help.
What?
Oh, I got to open the damn image.
I found a thread last night on one of the postings, and it was exactly what I was talking about, but there was no resolution.
Here we go.
Do you get accurate colors when you're shooting in color or printing in color, or is it just black and white that you're having a problem?
Only the black and white are desaturated. The color one actually turned out pretty good.
Well, one way in your color picture, if you have a light gray part of the picture, is the easiest way to see if you're getting a color cast. Look at the light gray part, print a color picture where you know there's a light gray in it and see if you're getting a cast there.
Mike, let me show you here. This in Photoshop, this is a crappy picture, but under edit, you come down to color settings and assigning a profile or converting a profile. So under color settings, and to be honest, I don't even know if I have mine set correctly because they keep upgrading it and changing it. But these three right here, see right now, this is wrong. So for me, I know I've got to go in and fix these. North American all-purpose, I think is correct, but I want Adobe RGB.
Okay.
Because if I don't do that, what'll happen is that it'll be converting every time I move back and forth between the two. The preserve profiles, there's a black point setting that's got to be there. I got to go find out what these are because now mine have got to be reset. And yeah, it can be something in here, but just something as simple as the Adobe RGB can make a huge difference.
Okay.
Now, when it's all said and done, you're going to print in sRGB. And
Okay.
it goes to the web in sRGB, and that's the most restrictive of the color depth and color palette. So if you do your editing starting day one in a very large color palette with a very high bit depth, like 16, then you've got the latitude to play with the files. But at the end of the day, you're going to convert them back out in most instances to an 8-bit file for printing, which means they throw away huge amounts of data. But not a whole lot you can do. I'm going to have to find where those are at to get the correct settings.
Okay.
Good thing you brought this up so I could find it. Another thing, cancel. When you bring up your Photoshop image, let me get out of this. File, close. If I go in here and try and open this again, you see down here at the bottom, can you see where it says Pro Photo?
Pro Photo. No.
Bottom of the image. Let me see if I can shrink my screen up. See right here where the cursor is?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what Photoshop is seeing when it opens the image. And so you have to set this. I've got it set at Pro Photo RGB, 16-bit depth. It'll tell me the size of the image. And I've got it set, in my case, at 360 PPI, because that's what the Epson printer prints at. But that needs to be set as well.
Okay.
Otherwise, and that I think is in your edit, excuse me, open, done. I think that's in your edit color settings again. Anybody got any better information, jump in. See, I didn't save this, so that needs to be a save. Anything else you can remember, Gary?
Where did you find that first menu that you brought up? Where was that?
The one at the bottom of the picture?
No, when you first showed me the.
Under edit. Let's see here. I'm going to cancel this. Under edit and colors, color settings.
Okay.
And these need to be set. And I'm thinking there's a gray point.
Oh, that might be it. Yeah, I didn't play.
It has to be set.
Gray gamma and dot gain.
Yeah. And then of course the RGB settings.
Yeah, but Bob, on the raw file, you had a Photo Pro RGB. Why are you setting it now to Adobe RGB?
Because I screwed up.
That's
Pro Photo. Good catch. And I save. Now, as time rolls on, comment error appear in this section. As time rolls on, you may change that to ACES or some other color setting, because the new TVs and the movies and stuff are using different things. Make it simple, though. The club uses sRGB. Most print places use sRGB. Most printers use sRGB, and the web uses sRGB. But that's the worst of all color spaces.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got to go find out how that used to be set. Let me see if I can Google it anywhere.
Well, I mean, if you don't mind, I bought the printer that Bob had listed up, and he sent everyone an email, and I'm in love with it. I'm getting stuff like this that's printing out, and unfortunately, the camera's not doing it justice with the saturation of colors. I love it.
Good. Just remember, I've got a book on color management, and it's subtitled Anger Management. You'll ruin a lot of paper and ink before you get it right.
I got more paper coming.
It's the ink that's the killer. The paper's cheap,
Yeah.
relatively speaking.
Printers are just ink vending machines. They could give away the printers and just sell you the ink and they'd make tons of money.
They pretty much do.
Yeah.
Oh, no, they give it away. That's the printer that has archival ink, right, Bob?
What, mine?
No, the one you sold to Mike.
I don't know what they call it. Those tend to be our marketing terms.
Okay.
But yeah, I know that on my big printer, the inks are guaranteed for longer than 100 years.
Mike, if you Google printer test sheets, color test sheets, you'll get a couple of different sites that have 8x10 color test sheets that you can download and then use them. I have one on the screen and then print it and compare them. They have things like all the different colors and grayscales and things like that that are real helpful rather than just trying to use one of your pictures.
Okay.
I use a place called Inkjet Mall, I think it's called, to buy inks for I have an Epson, and it works pretty well, a lot cheaper than buying them from Epson. And they give you these cartridges you can refill and stuff.
Yeah, I've always been scared to do that because, and if you're doing volume printing, I think you're going to be maybe okay with that. The thing I worry about is the cartridge head drying out. For like an Epson printers, one of the downsides is if those heads dry out and you can't clean them, you got to buy a new head, and you can only buy a new head from a licensed dealer, and they have to install it, and it usually costs 80% of the price of a new printer.
Yeah, you have to use them. The Epsons, you have to use them pretty regularly. In fact, I'm going to work on it tomorrow because I haven't used it in a while. And I've cleaned them before. Just use Windex, and it works pretty good with Windex and a paper towel.
Oh yeah, you know that technique. They do tell you to be careful, be a little sparing on the Windex.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother level of printer maintenance you guys don't want to get into just yet.
So anyway, for next month, we're going to just do the same thing. Just people show what they've been working on.
You guys select.
Kevin, I like your picture behind you. What about doing some snow shots?
Actually, I think that's an assignment for the club for January.
Hope we get snow.
Yeah, I was going to say, hope we get some snow. Yeah.
A little bit today.
Not enough though.
That's a good idea, Bob. If you have assignments coming up, I mean, if you want to start shooting them and then getting the group to take a look at them prior to submitting them, then you can get some good feedback for you.
That's a good point. Let me bring those up.
Actually, the one that's coming up in February, the portrait lighting person, I couldn't find a whole lot of information that you didn't have to pay for with that guy.
Oh,
I don't know
okay.
If you have anything
Jerry
you can send
Guionis?
out. Yeah.
I was wondering if it's really simple. I can explain it. The really, really great wedding and portrait shooters that I've seen, especially the wedding guys, because they have to be out running and gunning. You'll see sometimes portrait photographers or wedding photographers have an on-camera flash, and they may put some form of Tupperware on it to soften the light. But if you get a guy like Gary Guionis, who was ranked one of the best wedding photographers in the world, and that was 10 years ago, he's really good. He uses a thing called bounce flash, and he doesn't use any Tupperware on his camera flash, and he'll bounce it. So he'll twist the head so that maybe it bounces off a wall to the left or to the right and comes back into the face of the customer or the subject. And so that's just a technique to practice. And you'd be amazed how well that works. One of the worst things you can do is blast a flash straight into a person from your camera. In fact, Scott Kelby said once that if you really dislike somebody, use the on-camera built-in flash to take their picture.
Or the flash is off camera as well with him, or are they? I'm assuming they are. It probably has multiple.
They can have it off, but again, wedding guys are if they have the time, they're going to take the flash off the camera and usually have a tripod and an external flash that are connected wireless. But if they're in a run and gun situation, they're going to use an on-camera flash, and they're going to bounce the light around. And that's something, just practice it, and you'll get it. Reggie, oh God, can't think of his last name now. One of the Canon ambassadors, he uses the term foofing, but he does the same thing where he bounces the flash.
I had a YouTube thing. I'll look and see if I can find it, and I can send you the link.
Okay.
He talks about, he doesn't, in the YouTube video I found, he doesn't use a flash at all. He uses light sources from wherever he is.
Correct.
You know, that source will be bouncing off something reflective or whatever.
You talking about Jerry Gionis?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've spoken to
It was
Jerry.
more his street photography and things.
Yeah, he's a absolute master at going into a scene where everything is wrong, and he comes out with a gorgeous image in about 2 seconds because he just knows his camera and his lighting so well. He will tell you, for example, in lighting people, if you're out running around in the middle of the day and it's crappy, harsh sunlight, he'll put you up in a shadow up against a building and let the building reflect light onto you. But when he has to, he's going to use a flash, especially indoors. Like going up or down stairs, running around the bridal party. When I shoot with Greg Snyder, we typically will have an off-camera flash or two that are electronically controlled. And sometimes I'll just hold the flash off to the side because it's faster, and Greg will take the shots. Sometimes we'll have the lights, like in a wedding reception, up on high pedestals, shooting across the whole room, and then we'll have an on-camera flash to augment that, and we'll have to, again, twist it and let it bounce as opposed to try and spray it straight on.
And he uses ice lights.
Ice light, Jerry likes to use the ice light because he gets a commission on them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he hooked up with Westcott about 8 or 9 years ago to come out with the ice light. Having said that, there's a very similar light that Godox has that's about $129. It's actually a little better than the ice light. And I know Greg's got a couple of those he uses. And we've just now switched over to a little bitty 60-watt LED that's pretty sweet. But now for Jerry Gionis, so there should be a lot of information out there. And if not, you know, give me questions. I've been to a number of his seminars.
So is that the assignment?
Yeah, basically it's bounce flash. Figure out how to use bounce flash and not from your camera and still get it right on people. And like I say, you'll run into situations to where maybe you say, well, oh gosh, the ceiling's too high, the wall's too far away, the wall color is funny, but just play with it a little bit and you'll get the hang of it, and it does work. And you may have to crank your ISOs higher than you'd like, but most modern cameras, that's not a big deal.
So are we going to be on the third Wednesday of January?
Yeah, I think so, unless you guys want to do it different.
That works for me.
It's good for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before we go, Ann, I found something online. I sent it in the chat window, a source for a profile for the R5 that someone created.
Okay.
You might check that out.
And where'd you find it?
I just did a search. It's in the chat window.
Okay.
It's called colorfidelity.com or something. Somebody has a bunch of different profiles that don't exist in other places.
Thank
and
you.
as for the
The R5 and the R6, he has.
as for the January,
I'm not seeing it,
assignment,
Tom, in the chat window.
Oh, I sent it to Ann. I'm sorry. I just sent it to Ann because it's for the Canon.
Okay.
But I can send it to everybody. It's just called, hold on. Oh, can I do that? Oh, can I do it?
Oops.
let me see here.
Everybody.
Yeah, I see it. I'm gonna. I
I guess he has other cameras too, but the Canon one he just added, it looks like.
Thanks.
I got
Like
it.
15 bucks per camera or something. I think he really charges. It looks pretty reasonable to hold you over anyway.
I would say for the January assignments, just Google, I just did bounce flash. And there's all kinds of tutorials or explanations.
So the bounce slash is for this group?
Well, actually, that's for the whole club.
Right, that's not till February though.
Oh, it isn't? Oh, yeah, that's right.
Right,
Snow
that's
is January.
February's.
Excuse me.
So,
Yeah, snow textures are January. Bounce flash is in February, and then we start getting into tougher ones. And by the way, the things like the bounce flash technique, they work really nice for still lifes. They work nice for all kinds of photography. So nature, don't hesitate to use them when you can.
I went to a seminar and it was McNally, one of the Scott Kelby guys, National Geographic guys. He actually turned his flash so it was going the opposite direction behind him.
Absolutely.
And he was in a big room too, and it came out okay.
Yeah,
So-
no, that's why I say practice with it. You'll be surprised.
So for nature, you have to bring something with you to bounce it off, I'd imagine, if you're outside.
And that's not unheard of, but yeah, sometimes even you take a reflector and bounce it
Right.
off of a reflector. It's hard in nature to do it that way. It all depends on where you're at. Zoos would be a little easier for that sort of thing. But indirect flashes and flashes off the camera, where the flash light is reflected as opposed to straight on, all those are all techniques to soften and better control the light. In fact, while I'm thinking of it, on the 21st, yeah, what day is that? Monday? Sunday. 21st at 6 o'clock in the evening, there's going to be a webinar that I'm going to be helping Greg Schneider do with Rob Hall. And it's going to be on portrait lighting and model shooting. And I think it's going to be 90 minutes and it's free.
When is it again?
It's the 21st at 6 o'clock in the evening.
January 21st?
Send a note to Greg Schneider.
It's on a Monday.
Yeah, Monday. Boy. Yeah, that's right. It's the 21st. Send a note to Greg Schneider and he can sign you up. Let me see if I got anything that, because we're going to work out of his studio. Rob Hall's the guy who's actually doing the webinar in his studio, which Greg sublets. And
Rob Hall posts lots of YouTube videos on his.
he sure does. I tell you, one of the advantages Greg gets by subletting is Rob Hall is the go-to Godox lighting YouTuber, and Godox sends him everything they make. He gets to keep it. So we use a lot of his lights. Let me see, Gary. I'll see if, well, I don't see it right now. What I'm looking for. Here we go, Greg Schneider. Anyway, Greg's in our club, and it's his email is Pastor Greg. Let me get the information. I'll send it out to you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, everyone have a good holiday.
All right, you too.
You too, all right.
Avoid COVID.
Everybody. Yes, avoid
Yeah.
COVID.
Yes, happy holidays.
yeah.
Guys.
All right, take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.